one. Let's go. 4-time with Myriad. Sorry, my thing's all weird because I got a polo on and never wear a polo. Coach Jared here and
Coach Marta.
Awesome. Today we are going to be talking about kind of like routines or scheduling or how do people get in the gym who have lives, because everyone here has a life.
Yes.
So we're going to start that with, what do you do? So for those who don't know, Marta is full-on fitnesser, but also a full-on yogi. A yogi.
It's a fine word.
She's currently taking her 500-hour teacher training course.
My 300-hour teacher training course, and then I will be a 500-hour.
200-hour is the first course for teachers, and then 300-hour, which then equals 500-hour.
Yes.
But she's taking her 300-hour, which there's not too many people who have that total of 500-hour here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I would say. I mean, there's less than 50 people.
It's true.
Probably.
A lot of people just get their 200 hour
For sure.
and then just kind of do that.
So, anyways, how do you do yoga and also fitness and also run the gym and also run the yoga studio and also have hobbies and a life, but yet take care of yourself? I know it's a big question.
Well, hopefully a lot of those things are taking care of myself.
They are.
In part
True.
of it.
True. Good point.
It is a big question. There's so many places to start with that. Well, I have to decide what my priorities are every week. And
how do you do that? Like, what does that even look like? Like, from an actionable standpoint, are you sitting down on Sunday and deciding what your priorities are that week? Or what does that look like? Because you say that, but what does that mean?
So a lot of times, yes, I will look at my schedule at the beginning of the week. It's usually like Sunday night or Monday morning, like when I'm trying to get myself motivated to get out of bed. I'll look through my schedule for the week. And there's a couple of things I have to consider. My 300-hour yoga teacher training is a lot of work, and sometimes I have deadlines to meet for certain homework assignments or different things, so that might prioritize my yoga practice over my fitness in certain weeks. And additionally, on top of that, like I'm also trying to run a faster 5K right now. That's another thing I'm doing. So sometimes the way that I look at the gym in here might be like, okay, well, I want to bias myself towards running days because I'm trying to get faster in my running, but I want to make sure I can still run on the weekends. So I look at my schedule, I know what my goals are for that week, and that helps me prioritize what I want to do for the week.
Got it.
Hopefully that's a hopeful answer.
No, for sure. So step one is prioritizing. I'm very similar, same boat, where like sometimes on a good week, Sunday night, I get a chance to sit down, or Sunday, I get a chance to sit down, look at my calendar, take a look at like different meetings, different projects that are taking priority. Then I'm able to say like, okay, well now I know, and I also then look ahead at Chalk It Pro, and I'll look at workouts because similar to you, I bias towards a little bit more of the conditioning, a little bit more of the cardio, not necessarily running, but biking type workouts, and then I'll pick those out and try to look at my calendar and be like, oh, Tuesday's a biking workout, like I want to go to that class. Where can I fit that to my schedule? And so I try to do that for 2-ish classes, 3-ish classes throughout the week, and then what other fitness I can find, so to speak, I'll pop in my schedule as I go. So that prioritizing is huge when it comes to maintaining a schedule.
It is, and I think knowing what your priorities are for yourself too, and kind of having like priorities within your priorities. I know that for me, like my health and fitness and mental health is always going to be my number one priority over anything else that's happening in my life.
Oxygen mask, right? Like when a plane's going down, put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah, that's the first thing I have to take care of, because if I don't sleep well, if I don't eat well, if I don't get into the gym and move my body, I'm usually grumpy, and
100%.
And then I'm not very good at my job then, because I'm not as good at working with people, which I do a lot, or managing other people. So I know those are important things to do for me. So those are the number one things I'll always build into my schedule first, and then it's the priorities within that. Well, what am I working on this week? Is it more of a focus on my yoga? Is it more of a focus on my strength, my running? Those sorts of things. And they kind of shift in seasons.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's others in the gym who, my wife, for example, it's like she either goes to 5:30 a.m. or she doesn't make it to class. And there's a lot of people. I mean, I just looked at the whiteboard, and there's like 25 plus people at the 5:30 a.m. this morning. And a lot of those individuals are like, I either come to the morning class or I don't make it, because the rest of their day is just jammed with meetings or kids or other priorities that they have in their life. So sometimes I'm jealous of those individuals because it's just like, it's this class or nothing.
Yeah.
She can also potentially take the 4 p.m., but it's like, then it's either 5:30 a.m. or 4 p.m. And outside of that, it's work, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you and I and some of our staff members, we have the flexibility of like, the 9 a.m., the noon, potentially the 4 to kind of like go around. And I actually sometimes think it's more difficult for us to work out or find that time. Other individuals who have a more flexible schedule, I personally think it's probably more difficult for them to find time to work out because they can find other things to do.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I missed it because I was doing this instead. And it's like, takes a lot more accountability. It takes a lot more, like, I guess, willpower to just like get in and create a schedule for yourself.
Yeah, it can. I think the accountability is huge, and that shows up for people in different ways. I think for some people, having the exact same class every day is part of the accountability because you're going and you're seeing the same people in class. They know that you're going to be there. If you're suddenly not there for a week because you're on vacation, people are like, oh, where's so-and-so? Like if they don't know you're traveling. So it's nice to have that accountability. For me, the accountability is just signing myself up for a class because, as you said, it has to shift every day for me. Sometimes I'm teaching yoga when CrossFit classes are happening, or I'm personal training someone or something like that. So I have to sign up for the class because I'll be like, if I don't go to this 4 p.m. class today, I won't do anything. And it's much harder for me to work out on my own. I think you think, oh, you're at the gym, you're probably working out all the time. I'm like, no.
Unfortunately not.
Not really. I'm sitting on the floor a lot on my computer.
Let me ask this because I think you sit in a unique seat in the sense of your yoga practice as well. Mm-hmm. How do you decide what class you're going to take for yoga and when you're going to take that class on a weekly basis?
That one is tough. That one is often schedule oriented for me. I'll say, too, that the way that I practice yoga has changed a lot as I've gotten older.
Can you dive in that a little bit?
Yes, I can. So, like 10 years ago, yoga was a really large part of my like fitness and strength, I would say. I did
so your workout.
It was more of my workout. I would run a lot on my own. I was doing Swift and boot camp at the time, those two. And then a lot of yoga. And as I've done CrossFit more, what I like about it is I've leaned into that more for my strength and my conditioning. Because yoga will build you strength to a point, and then you do plateau. Eventually, you can only build so much strength with body weight. And I really like CrossFit. It allows yoga to be a different type of experience for me. So I get to work on my mobility and my mental health in yoga and use it more as a rest day. So with that in mind, I'm usually looking for yoga classes that might complement how I'm feeling that week a little bit. If it's been a really hard week earlier in the week at CrossFit and my legs are really tired, I might find a yoga class to go to on like Thursday or Friday. So a lot of times end of the week is when I want to do a yoga class because I'm a little beat up and maybe I need some extra attention in my body by that point in time.
And then are there specific classes people kind of should look out for within that yoga side if they're looking for a little bit more mobility, rest, recovery? Or are all yoga classes good for that towards the end of the week?
Yeah, that's an interesting question too, because all yoga classes are good for mobility.
Totally.
And mobility and flexibility are different, right? So I think it just kind of depends on the state of mind that you want to be in. People who have a hard time sitting still aren't going to love going to a stretch class or a restorative class because you're just sitting still and holding poses for a long time.
Which is my favorite.
Me too. I think that's a really nice compliment to what we do here in the gym because it's, I'm moving my body all the time over here. But if people who need to be a little more active and move because it's hard for them to sit in stillness, the flow or align classes are going to be better for that. But I usually try to do one yoga class during the week here at the studio, and then especially because I'm in my 300-hour training, I try to do one at home at the weekends because I have required classes right now that I have to take online. So 2 yoga classes a week are usually what I like to attend.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. You mentioned this earlier, accountability as an action item. So a couple of different action items we called out already, but one can be find somebody in your class who maybe they're not your friend yet, but they can become your friend. This has happened a lot over the last 14 years. Where people buddy up because they typically go to a 9 a.m., they typically go to a noon, and then they become friends, and then before you know it, they exchange numbers, and they're like, hey, are you going to class today? And there's just that small little piece of knowing that, like, hey, your friend's going to class, makes you want to go to class. And
Yeah.
like that's going to drive you to get there, hold you accountable, even if you don't want to. It's like, well, I get to go see my friend. I get to go hang out with my friend. I get to go be with my friend. I get to go
Yeah.
exercise with my friend. And that's going to force you to go. So that's another item I would throw out there is just like, meet somebody new.
Yeah.
And you know, get some new friends in
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah, meeting somebody new is really good. Having kind of like a built-in workout buddy, scheduling yourself into classes, and I think making the commitment to yourself is really important for accountability, because I know it's hard to hold yourself accountable to things, but if you sign yourself up or you write it down somewhere, then you're kind of, it's like writing down a written agreement to yourself in certain ways. Yeah.
The last one I would throw out there is tell the coaches. Like tell a coach like, hey, my goal is to be here 3 times a week, and then that coach can hold you accountable to it. Or you know, if you know there's a coach that you can see 2 or 3 times a week because you know you take their classes, tell them that goal, and then they'll keep track of whether you're there or not because they're going to be coaching those classes. So that's another good one that can help hold people accountable of actually like putting it on the calendar and coming to that class. Yeah,
we actually have systematically too a number of things that people may or may not be aware of that are kind of built into different systems within the gym that can help you hold accountable, especially if you like visuals. One, Chalk It Pro, if you log the workouts and the things that you do in Chalk It Pro, it will show you on your dashboard like how many days you've come that week. And you can see a history of the classes that you've attended throughout the month, how many days, what days you've attended.
Interesting.
And that can be a nice visual log for people, which I think is more helpful sometimes than just kind of having it in your head. And we also do our class clubs, of course, which
100,
we track that for people. So if you just have a hard time tracking things and you know you want to hit a certain goal, Zoe has a really cute sticker chart that I'm looking at right in front of me right now. It's very colorful and nice, but we'll track your classes for you, and that can help keep you accountable to attending a certain number of classes per week, per month, so that you can hit whatever that goal is that you set for yourself. So there are a lot of systems in place to help you as well.
And you could also become a legacy here by hitting the 300 club and getting, if you never notice when you walk into the fitness lobby, the plaques up the top are the 300 club members from 2021 to 2024. So get your name on one of those by coming 300 times or more, and it's relatively accessible with having yoga and our fitness classes and everything from that standpoint. So.
And I think the variety in the classes helps with the accountability too, because if you're like, not everyone needs to do CrossFit 5 or 6 days a week. I mean,
I'm that person.
You do, you're that person.
Yeah.
I do it 5 or 6 days a week, but I really enjoy that. And it's not for everybody, but a good way to keep moving on your own is go to a yoga class. We have karate now on the schedule, so those things are a little easier on your body. They're a little easier mentally sometimes too, and allows you to keep the consistency without having to break the routine.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if karate is easier on your body from what I've been hearing from Richie and other people who take karate, but I understand it's a different type of movement. So
it's easier on your body in some ways.
Yeah, I gotcha. Cool. So there's a couple action items of how to plan your classes, get to the gym, go to certain classes, hold yourself accountable. We're not different than anyone else in the sense of it's hard for us to get to class,
it is
and
hard.
We've had to find our own little small ways of forcing ourselves or convincing ourselves to take classes. So grab myself, grab Marta, grab another coach, ask them how they do it, and we'd love to talk about it. Awesome. Thank you.